daughters. Thank you for telling us the truth. It is the daughters.
That is the fact.
Why do people look for sons?
Okay, of course, maybe for me, it's a bit different because I think my son, I think we are very close with my son.
Yes.
But what happens with men when they get married, it doesn't last too long.
How old is your son?
20.
20.
Yes.
Gladys, you have a
son? To move you from that, it's true, the men are always close to their mother, always and naturally. But when it comes to that other life, when they are grown up,
when they get married,
telling you the girls, whether they are married in poverty, whether they are married in riches, they always remember the parents.
Exactly.
Come rain, come sun. They don't care. But the men, they are kind of, I don't know what happens. Like in my case, I always push for the son. Please, we have our mother here. Now it's our mother-in-law. Please, if I don't take the initiative to work on the things of my mother-in-law, you'll find the son is all over busy, and most of the time we'll end up forgetting the mother.
Because men are not naturally wired for connection.
Yeah, so I think the women and girls are the most important. I'm not saying men are not important. I have two sons, but girls are very precious.
But
it's nature.
You should be careful. Like for my case, when you have girls who are much caring to their mothers, and this girl is already married, you should, being a mother, like me being a mother-in-law, you have to be careful with this girl who is coming to take care of you, and yet she's in another home.
Yeah,
you might, if you continue encouraging her on that, you might interfere with people's homes, with another home.
The other side.
The other side.
Now where
so
she's married.
Sometimes I tell her, remember you have God. I do tell her openly, you the first one, because she has a home. I do tell you, you should be very careful with your home. That home is not yours. And when you have to be permitted by your husband
to come
and
their home
and go do things. So whenever we are telling her, me and my husband, when there is a thing, like there is a one time the father was sick and it was too much, we had a hard bill. I have to call them together, the two, so that they agree. You you propose to them what is happening, so that they decide whether they will help or not.
Yeah. You know, when I listen to Jane, she's bringing up a very important point. And Gladys had mentioned earlier that the girls are very precious. They are the ones who stand with their homes, you know. But the sons, once they go, or rather get married, they kind of forget, right? Who makes them forget? Is it the son's problem, or is it the women that they still meet with, who are just the women here?
To add on what Jen was saying, that's very right, and that's, in fact, that is the right path to grow their daughters. But as much as they know they have their homes and their families, there are other families that don't care. Now, like the way, because I see she's very caring and she's giving a lot of moral support to show the girls the way. But now, other families are not like that, are totally different. They keep on taking and taking and taking.
Without caring about the other side.
Yeah, without caring on the other side. Because once I get married to this family, I belong to the two of them. I belong to the two of the families. I'm not for one family. But the most important thing, and now in my case, I usually bring my family first. Now the one with Mutunga. Before I get to my mother-in-law and to my dad, because my dad is the one alive, I bring my family first.
That sounds like a natural thing to do.
Family.
Yes.
That sounds like a natural thing to do.
Yes.
You first deal with your home. But Julia, I'd asked you, is indeed the same girls that also go and not confuse, but, you know, stop these sons From
it depends.
the noble.
Okay, it depends. But naturally, men are not wired for connection. So men don't connect that easily. Even with their own kids, some of them, it's not easy for them. They don't connect easily even with their own kids. So what happens is this. Men usually follow up somewhere they are satisfied, and especially sexually. So the relationship between the mother and the wife becomes kind of different, because with the mother, okay, atakula huko na ashibe na anything, but sexually, his sexual needs are more important. I think it's the first for a man. So what happens? A man will follow up where he's sexually satisfied. And that is why a man will leave a wife, go away and get another woman, and forget completely that he had a wife and kids. And forget completely. If where he goes, he's treated well, he's getting satisfaction sexually. So what happens is, if he is comfortable, he tends somehow to forget.
He forgets.
Somehow. Okay, it's not that he forgets, but okay, he remembers the mom is there.
Because I'm looking at the relationship you had mentioned earlier, that sons and their mothers are usually very close. I don't know, who takes away the closeness? Is it the wife?
There's a woman. Both of you are women.
I think
Are you forgetting? Both of you are women.
But this is not his mother.
No, but this
is not his
this
mother.
man is fought in between two. The mother
Between the
and
two.
his wife.
Jane, there are people who, once they get married, in fact, the ladies I've heard who say they will not get married to men whose mothers are still alive because of the attachment that the son usually have with the mother.
That is very true. And it happens because before the lady gets married to the man, he is an adult, and he was used to the mother. The mother was the opposite sex that this man had in his life before he gets, and sometimes he doesn't want to cut it. So the girl comes in and gets frustrated because of the relationship
That is still existing.
that still exists. Though in the Kikuyu culture, there is coming up a culture where I'm also participating. I've become a teacher in my counseling. Whenever we have, in my community, we have such, it is called Itara, where before the bride gets married, after they come and bring the dowry, you know the dowry is being brought to the bride's side. Then finally in the Kikuyu culture, you're supposed to go for that Itara and go and visit the bride's home just before the wedding. And this time, it is a time when the mother-in-law is supposed to hand over the boy to the bride.
Yes.
For example, we ask them, I normally conduct them, you ask them, explain to the boy the kind of food he was getting satisfied with, whether it is mukimo, whether it is ugali. This is a day when you hand over this boy to the
daughter-in-law.
To the daughter-in-law. You welcome, you show her to cook. Sometimes, though it is just a demonstration, we go to the kitchen, you will go to the what? You show her the house.
Does the relationship ever end?
You try to bring that relationship, and you bring the Bible. This girl, you try to bring this mother-in-laws, trying to protect the boy child who is getting married, so that you try to tell her
To cut that link.
to tell
You know,
that
Jane,
ring so that they come together.
What you're saying is the things that people do, you know, occasionally during an event.
Yes.
But what happens in reality in that house, you know, is very different from what is practiced on that particular day.
Because
You will hand over your son to this daughter-in-law with the expectation that you have gotten such a beauty, you've gotten a daughter who's going to take care of your son the way you have probably taken care of him, and even much better. But when they get to the house, life begins. Life begins. And life is not one that has a formula that you can actually calculate and get to. it just happens, you know. So when life does happen, then you see your son frustrated, you see your son not happy, you see him losing weight, you see him stressed when he comes to your home. One time a mother-in-law, just like you, said to me, though we do not say, they can see it and they know it. When you appear and show up in their house, you say, Mom, I am fine, but they can see it all over you,
You are
that
not.
you are not fine. That is the time now they begin to have beef and issues with the daughter-in-law. So who spoils? You daughters-in-law.
I believe as a mother-in-law,
Uh-huh.
you are supposed to be a friend of your daughter-in-law.
That's
In order for you
nice.
do not cut the link. You know the word we have used here, that you cut the link. You
It's
give
not
out, do not cut the link. Be a friend to that daughter-in-law. Educate that daughter-in-law. So when you are friends with you, if Betty, you are married by my son, if you are friends with you, my son will always come home. Why? Because Betty will always be telling my son, let's go see mom. Let's go see mom. You see? So when I want my son to come, if I take my phone and call you,
We will both come.
yes.
I think she's very right.
Both of you will come, isn't it? So what happens is we cut the link, and mothers are very, they feel sad because they feel like my boy has been stolen.
Yeah.
But immediately you put your mind on that this is another child who has come to my home. This is my child. My boy is now married. At least now I've brought you up to this age. You are now 25. Nimekulea enda ukalelewa hiyo ingine. Unajua tunasemanga our mother-in-laws, they bring them up and then they give us those kids because we continue bringing them up. We really do continue bringing them up. I believe you accept
The sons.
The sons
meant to be children.
Yes. So as
Okay.
a clever or wise mother-in-law, you know your son is still not yet made up. Umempea to another lady.
Though
So
he's marrying, he's not yet.
yes.
Wow.
What ukifikiria ati your son is very good. This daughter-in-law, she has her flaws also, and your son has his flaws. So as a good parent, you should first of all know these are my two kids.
What happens to the mothers without sons?
To the mothers without sons,
Yes.
I think it's a bit tough. It's very tough because I've seen my sister-in-laws going through that because they've given birth to
Daughters.
girls. Yeah, and she has been like nobody recognizes you in that family, so they end up bringing their issues to the other family where they are born for the brothers to chip in to help them in these issues because in that family nobody cares because there is no one to be called as son and they feel si hao wasichana wanaenda kuolewa.
What is this issue with inheritance that has only to be given to a son? Jane, you have 3 daughters and 1 son, you mentioned. If you did not get a son, thank God you did, were you ever going to share your inheritance with your daughters?
It's a good question, but it happens that my grandmother, whom I'm named after, those times, she only had 2 daughters, and you can imagine at that time. And my grandfather had 3 wives. He was a rich man, and when my grandmother was to be given property, she had to be given 1 son from the other wives, so that in
She
the absence
qualifies.
of
She
that,
was donated as a
an adopted son was given to her, so that in the absence of my grandmother, he will take the property, the shamba. Yet he had acres and acres. So at that time, being given 10 acres, it was too little, just because she didn't have
Her own son.
her own son.
Imagine how terrible that is.
so
It's really
bad.
frustrating.
So I
So
think
she didn't have any at all, even an adopted one.
unfortunate that son committed suicide. I don't know why. So she was left without a son. With me, I was staying with that grandmother because she was alone. She needed somebody. So my mother had, most of the time I was spending the time there.
So was the
even
land
sleeping
given
there.
to her eventually? It was taken
So
away.
finally, the other sons of the other wives, one one man sold his land 20 acres away, and he started now trying to sell this land, which was left to this woman. But finally, she came back and gave to the 2 daughters who are married.
She was able to
But
bring
everybody in the village was somehow seeing how awful this woman is. She has given 2 daughters who are married, and the property is supposed to be given to men.
They
to
looked
sons.
at it as a taboo.
Yes.
Giving inheritance to daughters.
Yeah,
So
but
if you
it was
don't have a son, that is just how unfortunate you are. But you know what surprises me is that when you look at our prisons, who are the majority in our prisons? Are they daughters or sons?
Men.
It is.
Men.
Sons,
Yes. So why are people really fighting to have sons?
I think with now where the world is, and with the Y generation and the Z generation, and also the millennial generation, that's why, because I'm a community developer, and I've seen the empowerment that has come past maybe 15 years, empowering for girls, that is almost like conflict to most of the families because of the empowerment the girls are getting. I think this is changing the mindset and the cultures of the community, that a girl is not of importance. Because, for example, when I was a teenage, I was expelled from school, and nobody cared to take me back to school simply because I was a girl. And this is what is affecting majority of even the women, including us who are going to become mother-in-laws, because that is the ground we grew. And we still feel, see, this girl, she needs to do something that is feminine. She needs to do something that is so feminine, leaving the things that are also in market. And I think we need to move ourselves from that understanding and that mindset to bring our guys into a platform of understanding and knowing that we are both human beings. That we, as much as we have different roles as gender, but we have the same platform to exercise.
And we can do much more.
We can do much
Julia,
better.
you know, when you talk about occupations, for example, she mentioned that there are those careers that people have left to just be feminine. But girls are also becoming drivers, you know, they drive lorries, they drive lab buses. You know, girls are also flying planes. They are also engineers. They are doing great things as well, you know. But people are still insisting that they must have a son. Maybe not them, but the society. Lack of a son has also brought something that I have discovered, and that is divorce. If you look at, if you were lucky to get into school and study biology, you know about the X and Y chromosome. Why would a man chase you away for not having a son, yet it's the career of the seed that gives you the son?
You know, for a very long time, women thought they are the ones who give sons. They give birth to sons. For a very long time. That's what we knew. Until we went to high school and we did biology, we realized, oh, so this thing is in men.
Yes.
Majority of women, especially those who are not educated enough, they still don't know. And they are the majority.
Now you can imagine how many women outside there do not know.
They don't know. Majority of women don't know.
So many.
And you will hear them talk like, some just jampea kijana. You see?
So they are taking
the narrative.
responsibility.
They even blame themselves for something that is so natural. They blame themselves. Ati, oh, sijapea, mi sijawapea kijana. You see?
And in your many years of counseling, you've met with many such cases that someone has come to you, their husband chased them away, they have been divorced. So this man is trying to move outside. They are trying to look for a son. And once they get a son, then they dump this woman and now getting to the one that has given a son. How have you handled such kinds of cases?
This man, because of lack of knowledge, that they hold the X and Y chromosomes to give girls or boys, and they go out to marry more, they are bringing complications in their life.
Are they aware?
sometimes they don't understand. They think they are solving the problem for the day, but for the future, it becomes more complicated. Because you see someone marrying even 3 or 4 wives, we have seen them, and you find he cannot eat in any of the home. Sometimes the marriage becomes so, and he finds that he does not trust anyone, because when they become 2, 3, 4 wives, nobody have got love for him, and he comes to understand that later when he has done the mess of going out together.
Must he have a son, even if this son is crippled, even if this son is going to spend his entire days in prison? Must he have a son? What is the pressure?
It is not a must. They need to understand the role of administration. The role of administration governs that all the children that you have are entitled to your property.
Yes. No, African culture
they get bullied. They also get bullied out there.
The men,
yes. When they don't have sons. So they also go through the pressure
they
of
also
society.
are frustrated.
Yes, they get frustrated a lot out there. So we don't blame them fully.
By their fellow men.
The family, their mothers, the siblings. So they also get bullied out there. And even their buddies. When they are drinking out there with the buddies.
They feel
you don't have a son, you know.
So the men also are told they're not men enough.
Yes.
Without a son.
That's what they go through.
What is the special thing? What is the special thing in this son?
I think it's because we
believe.
It's just belief that a man is the dominant factor in a family or in anything. Because like as I always talk about empowerment, every door a woman goes through, you will always find a man, not a woman. Every door you go through for your achievement, you'll always find a man. So it will determine whether that man will open that door, or you either pay in cash or in kind for you to go through that door. So there are so many things that goes around a man to be a man. When I was getting my son Justin some 6 years ago, I was lying in this bed and the other bed was a lady. I never knew she had other 5 kids. And guess what? The first birth she had twins, girls. The second one, the third twins. Now those are 5 kids. And now, right now at that moment, she has given triplets, girls. Do you know what happened? The man came in. This is a true story. I was in the same hospital with her, the same ward. That man came in with other 2 men. They were very excited, but you know they found girls. That man left immediately.
Without sorting out the deal.
Anything. And when I followed, because I stayed in the hospital for 3 days, she was still there. That man never came back.
What a frustration.
I was so sad about that. And it was like, no, this is a case. The doctors had to take an action. When she was wondering, where will I go? The others are like this, and they are, and now.
Before we take a break, what should that woman do?
She should just take it easy. And no, be patient. She should be patient.
And wait.
It be enough. I have also seen one. She was a teacher like me that time. She was left when she got the 4th girl, the 4th daughter, and she was left. The man didn't even remove her from the maternity to home. She called the bigger daughter to call the aunt to remove her from the hospital and home, and she waited. She was just quiet, and they continued. She was there in that home because you can't just leave. You have that one in the hospital, you have others, you have that matrimonial home. Where are you going? Because he has, of course it is so hurting.
No, and that's why Jen, let me come to Jen, and that's why Jen, I was saying, it is the girls who support that family, and especially the mothers, because of such a scenario. When this girl come to learn about that, when she's grown, I'm telling you, she rejects the dad and she begins to support the mother, simply for that.
You know, the person you guys are all fighting to have, the son, is the one doing this. Is the one who dumped this woman, is the one who also dumped this other one. I know of a true story, just like you ladies, of a woman who has given birth to 11 girls. She does not want to continue, but the pressure is she's looking for a son. What a pity. She's looking for a son. Why are you all struggling to get this son?
Let me
The men who are pushed, there are some religious practices who are also pushing these men to the wall. Like, for example, you see in some religions, churches, they are told the seed continuation in humankind is continued through women. If you have a girls, there will be no seed continuation, because the girls will go to other homes and they belong there. So your home will not continue. And this, you can see, this is the way it was even before.
That's
And that is
some
because if you look at it and say,
in
every other
religion.
woman, if every other woman gives birth to boys, who will they marry?
And if every other woman gives birth to boys,
That's
will
what I'm
you have
asking.
inheritance for all of them?
It is God to balance, and God knows why. Knows why He is giving boys to this home and girls to this home. So all of them should accept, because they see the son is the one who is giving the girls and is the one who is giving the
I think
boys.
I like the seed idea, because there's that long time ago I appeared in a Sunday school class, and what I heard the teacher was teaching was about must have been Hannah and Elkanah, and he said, am I not better to you than 10 sons? And I wondered, what? Why didn't he say even 10 daughters? Why did he say 10 sons? I mean, sons are that special and precious.
That was the tradition.
I think
That was the tradition.
as much as it is also a
And
tradition,
we need to move. We need to move on.
as much as it is also a tradition, I think it is how God made human nature. It is always the man who carries the seed, not the woman. It is the man who gives the seeds, and now I think that's where the issue is. Most of the people have taken advantage of that, thinking it is always about men. Yeah,
So it is about the seed issue.
it is about the seed.
Julia,
I don't think
differently.
I don't think it's about the seed issue, but I think as even in the family, even in the society, the kind of things that we do, or the kind of jobs that we do, or the kind of books that we read, who writes them? Mainly,
Majority are men.
majority are men. So when they write them, what do you think?
They also lure the mindset of the readers.
Exactly. That's what happens. Because even when we do counseling, the most of the books that we read, and actually I tend to say, majority of them are not written by Africans. But you feel there is gender imbalance.
Bias.
They are gender bias, to put it that way. And when we come up and we believe in everything that they say, just like when you go for a session of counseling, I tell people, what we will go for a session of counseling, you and I, what we pick from there, you do not necessarily have to put it 100% to your home. Don't take it 100% to your home, because you are married by a different man. I am married by a different man. So what we get there, what we are told to do, you are coming from different regions. That is not what you believe in. That's what you see. When the way people are told, oh, when your husband comes in, do this or remove him the coat. Some of these men don't know what you're trying to do. They don't understand what is that.
When Jane has been married the longest time, she already has, she's already a mother-in-law. She could tell us, you know, when you teach people to do certain things like that one, are they practical? Did you practice them?
You don't teach people how to learn their homes.
Okay.
Because people are individual.
Yeah.
Homes are individual, and they are. Like if you go for those seminars, like the way we take women seminars, go and do this, go and do this. If you go and you come from that seminar, that woman, and go and start doing it, like
You start
what my
practicing it
sister
really
is
well.
saying, you start removing the coat from the work, you start and you're not
And you have never done that before.
that man will just said, what madness
Yeah, exactly.
is this?
What happened?
You go the way you go. Don't just
Or you do it
change
slowly by
things
slowly.
just for the sake of it.
Julia, you got a daughter first. When you got a son, were you satisfied? Phew, finally, I am woman enough.
Okay,
I am now going to be accepted.
For me, it was not about acceptance. For me, it was about, okay, I had planned, I had told myself that I could give birth to 2 kids. That's what I told myself. So I wanted a daughter and a son.
Wow.
You see, now that balancing, it never occurred to me that this is special and this one is. But for me, it was like, I want to have the experience of having
both.
a son and a daughter. So it was like that to me. So when I got a son, I felt to go, wow, I'm done. Now I have as a daughter and have a son. But immediately I got the second born, I felt the urge of having, I don't know why, the third one. So when this third one came, it was like, and we had no choice, any. Actually, I actually had bought, by then we never used to go San for scans. So it was like a pink basin, there's a blue, what, you're just guessing. Could be a daughter, maybe a son. Not everything is like, this is a boy, no. So when he came and he was another son,
Jane, that's, I don't know if you passed through such a thing. You had 2 daughters and you had such pressure until you even being called Mama David, and you don't even have that David. So did that bring satisfaction when you eventually had a son?
I was happy. One thing, I didn't mind the daughters.
Okay.
I didn't mind them, but I was a bit happy because I could see he also wanted the father. The father really, he went to celebrate with other men. He went somewhere to
Even mine
celebrate.
did.
That's what I came to understand. So I was also happy because he is
happy.
He's happy,
But
I was surprised. Why go to celebrate with other men? This one, and he was not going the other time. So I also I was happy about. Then when we were to get the 4th one, he said when we got another daughter. He said, I'm okay. You find he's okay, provided
Any now can come as long as
He
there's
has
already a son.
Has a son.
Oh my God. Oh my God. The pressure and the stress that women have to bear. This pressure comes from the mother-in-law. This pressure comes to the daughter-in-law. And this daughter-in-law grows up to be a mother-in-law and forgets the pressure they received during their time and passes on the same to the other. There are countries like Afghanistan. I watched a clip where the father really wants a son, that if the mother is not giving, they have now changed their own daughter. Of course, not biologically and physically, but they have tried to do some physical adjustments, the way they do her hair. So they say, she is my son. She is my son. So they shave her a certain way, and they dress her a certain way, and they also get her to associate with men and do men activities just because there is the gap in them. Have you had such kinds of things in our culture?
I think in our culture, it's only that behind the scenes, so many things happen and might not be brought online. And I imagine what happens under the sun because of this issue of gender, of men is more important. Like I was reading an article how Malaysia treats their girls. If you give birth to 2 girls and 1 son, the girls will be killed before at the age of majority. They are killed before the age of 5 to remain with at least 1 daughter and not 2. And this thing has been going on. Now in our culture, you find that the girls are totally molested. Behind the scenes, you will never know what this family does, but they are totally abused, molested, and neglected.
Like the Maasais,
No,
they
no, sir.
prefer not to take them to school
Yeah.
and
Now
just be
bring
there.
across with the refugees, very close because of the work I do in the community. You'll find like the Congolese, for example, they have their own cultures here in Kenya, and once the girl gets early pregnant or she gets pregnant before marriage, there are rituals that they do, and she'll remain closed behind the closed doors until further notice, until somebody comes to intervene for this girl. So I think there is, in our African culture, most of the things terrible, inhuman, happen because of this girl. So I think, for me, we need to empower them, which most of the world around us is not interested in that. But empowering a girl to stand firm, to be fully independent, she'll be in a better position to conquer all these odds, to believe in herself, to love herself, and to know we are all human beings, and also to support others. Because living her like that, she's inevitable of any kind of abuse because of that. So, yeah.
I think education is slowly going empowering the girl. You remember there are times when boys were being taken to school and girls were left behind, because they believed that the girls are just educated, and when they get educated and get money, they'll just take it to another family. So there were times when girls were not taken to school. But later, the same education, you find those men and women, parents, who are educated, they are changing the scenario of empowering the girls or the women in taking them to school. And you find, if you have a parent who is educated, I still use my parents, my father, in the way of inheritance. By then I was married when he was dividing his inheritance. But we were all called. He said, I want all those who are
My very own to be partakers of
yes,
this,
we were taken there. I found it funny because there were ladies who were married to the boys, but they were not called. And me, I'm married. I do not go with my. But he meant what he said. He said, even if I call you, even if you are the son and you come alone, the property you have, he clarified, it's yours and your wife and the children, and he could mention them,
that is the beauty of exposure.
the names, but they were not there when he was doing it. Then it was divided, and we went to all the procedures, and the property is divided to all the children.
Information is power, knowledge is power.
Exactly.
So when they go on like that, you empower them, you somehow balance. They know that this property is mine, together with my family, and we know, even when he died later, when we went to the court for that, we had to say what he had said, and the property was subdivided, and there was no problem. If things continue like this, there will be no this problem of the son, because mostly the inheritance, the resources, becomes the problem. Even the mother-in-law fighting with the daughter-in-law, it is because of the resources which are with the son, because
being shared to her,
or the son is giving too much to the mother-in-law without consulting the wife. So the problem is circulating here. And why I should give the son? A man you may find him getting sick simply because he doesn't have the sons to to give the property, and the daughters are there, and he bore them equally the same. Or you find if a man had some sons somewhere to some women where he left, he goes for them and brings them
very late in the marriage.
In the marriage,
What
which
are
brings
these women, Jane,
which
supposed
brings
to do?
problem.
These women who have not gotten sons, and is it well with them? Because as we are discussing this today, we're talking about must I have a son? And there are those that don't have. And we feel the pressure because even them, they know that importance. That is why they would even try biologically, you know, do some calculations to just know, time the conception period to get a son. You know, that is the pressure. Somebody will do and go see a doctor and pay for whatever they need to pay to have some biological examinations, you know, to just make sure that on this date, if I dare, I will get a son. You know, there is also that pressure. What do we say to those women who have done all things they must do and they still don't have a son? And we are here saying, must I have a son? Can we say you must not?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
You must not.
It's not a must that you have a son. And they should understand that if you have 3 daughters, then you have 3 son-in-laws. If your daughters will be married, then you have 3 son-in-laws. It's a high time we start now. When we talk about empowerment of girls, sometimes we tend to have imbalance, kind of, because we have really empowered our girls. To a certain extent now, we've become so gender more than we are tribal. Because men are feeling like women are very, very empowered. And so what is happening nowadays, I was telling some other people another day, that long time ago when I was young, even musicians used to sing love songs for girls, isn't it? They used to sing good songs, they used to say good things about girls. Nowadays, listen to them, especially where we come from. We, the people of the mountain. Like when they sing, I don't know whether that's what happens to you. When they sing, there's kind of a lot of abuse too.
It's
The opposite
not
sex.
that
It's not about love, it's not how beautiful that you are, how I love you, it's not that. The narrative has changed. It's about attacking, you know.
But can you see it has changed because of the
this to you, you
same problem?
disappointed.
No, you know why it's happening? We men are feeling like they are left behind. Like we are really, really empowering the girl child. So what I'm saying is this, as we empower the girl child, we should try and empower the boy child. Why? Because when you have 3 girls, and you want them to inherit your properties, there are some men who will feel they don't want that property. If I'm married to your daughter, I don't want to inherit from my in-laws. You see? So if we empower the boys, if they are educated and they are told it's okay to inherit properties from your father-in-law, it is okay. So these men will not be scared when they marry your daughter. You see? But you see now here, you will be married, you inherit land from your parents, and your husband says no, not here.
Ladies, Gladys, I want to give you a chance to give us your last words.
My last
We are
words.
out of time, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah, as a community worker, I always talk about this empowerment. And I feel it's very good when a girl is empowered, and this girl should not take advantage of that empowerment once she gets empowered. Because with my own experience, where I've come from and how I've been brought, if I haven't got empowerment, I don't know where I would be today. I don't know how many abuse I would have gone through. So parents, let's take both genders very seriously. For women who have not given birth to sons, please take your girls as your sons, because they are the best things that you ever had. And love yourself and educate them and give them the best. Yeah.
Julie.
Yeah, you out there, if you don't have a son, I want to tell you today that life is a double-edged sword. If you have daughters, you should understand you have 3 son-in-laws. You should be scared. When it comes to empowerment, let us empower our boy child, let us empower our girl child, so that this boy will be able to know that this girl, whoever I am getting married to, or when I'm getting married, if I don't have a son, I will be okay. Because this girl child is just as equally as the boy child. So and let us go back to doing counseling and premarital counseling before getting married, so that this discussion of children can be handled before you get married. Because that is where people go wrong. You get married, you've not talked about children, there they are, they start coming up like, what? I'm pregnant, poop, another one. And you had not talked about it. Talk about it before and clear the air that if you don't have a son, I'll be okay. If you don't have a daughter, I'll be okay. And so we move on.
Wow. Jane.
I would like to talk to the men and women out there. Children are a gift from God that we are given. And God decides to give you a son, sons or daughters. I would request we accept all the children the way we are given by God. If you are given girls, bring up them well. If you are given sons, bring them up well. Let our children have morals. And you man who have got girls in there is no need of going up there to get boys, because you're bringing problem into the family which God has given you. You better be happy with that family and see and explore what God has got ahead there. And let's respect the mothers. That woman that you see there with daughters, she's too powerful in that home. And she can ruin that home until you find that you are nowhere. So it is good you respect that woman even if she has the daughters, and bring up the children that you are bringing them with morals and values, and let them take that property, because God has designed the family the way it is.
Wow. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming and sharing your expertise. Thank you, viewer, for watching this. It has really been awesome. I know you now got it. You must not have a son to be happy or to be satisfied. My name is Betty. I have been your host. See you next time.
Theology schools were established to prepare people to preach the clear gospel of Jesus Christ. They were designed to teach the truths of the Bible and to build an unwavering faith in God. However, as time has passed, theological institutions